starting to get pulled into those things that were outside of my scope of responsibility. And to be honest, I do think that because they saw how to navigate that situation, they began to feel that, I think they already knew it was important to have a role, but then they were also apprehensive about the who. Like, do you get a person that's purely an activist and doesn't understand the business side? Or do you get a person that's, really good at the business side, but it's kind of tone deaf on how is it going to land with the communities? So it was really hard to find a person that had both. So I think it was kind of a little bit of luck, that incidents happened that I got pulled in. But then as I started doing being basically a consultant on particular issues, I think it kind of spoke the role into existence. And then, the rest is history.
So with that, did you see that, like, okay, this is something that we need? Or were you like, oh, y'all really want me to do this?
Yeah, so I actually was like, man, the person y'all put in this role really needs to do this, they need to do this. I'm like actually giving action items for whoever this is.
So it was similar to Mr. Clark when he said he was when they had that group before they made a diversity director, and like, yeah, the person needs to do this. Like, no, you gonna do it.
Exactly. I was man. So I'm telling them, like, all the qualities you need to have. Someone needs to know this and need to know that. They're like, yeah, write it down. It was like, and Shipp, it's you. So I actually did not accept the role in the very beginning. Like, there was probably like a 3-week delay on me accepting the role. And part of it was, one, I wanted to understand what I was getting myself into. And you got to imagine, like, there's not a lot of senior diverse talent in the organization. I have a very favorable impression inside the company. And right now, this is, you basically, in this space, someone's not going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just the nature of the space. So part of me was a little reluctant, not because I didn't think it was a good cause, but I also was, looking at my career, done a lot of great things, and I didn't want to, tarnish their reputation. But then the other side of me was like, man, I'm not really, I'm not just like at the table, but I'm the head speaker at the table.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I ended up deciding to take it. I gave them a couple parameters of, here's the things that are non-negotiables for me. If you all don't think that you all want me to do this in the role, then maybe you need somebody else. So I gave them the non-negotiables, and they said yes. So I was like, dang, I really can't get out of it.
You was throwing out stuff. Hopefully they say no, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to where I was at.
Yeah. So, man, but to be honest, it's been great, man. I think we've got to make some positive change on things. It's tough because, again, you always got people that don't understand the journey, and they'll kind of look at it like, man, it's reversing meritocracy. Other people saying meritocracy doesn't work, meritocracy is dead, it's a myth anyway. So you got all these different terminologies and viewpoints and everything, and I'm like, man, I can't even say diversity right. You telling me, nah, you can't have diversity, you have inclusion. Oh, you can't have equity unless you have inclusion. Anyway, so yeah, it feels almost like an impossible role sometimes, but I always ground myself to, as long as making progress, you really can't be mad. That's the way I view, my life, my job. That's the way I view, my real estate investments. Like, everything I've done, I've always said, as long as I'm progressing forward, how can you really be upset, on progress?
So what is the thing this is a 2-part question, but what is the 2 things you've learned? I mean, what have you learned about working in this field, and what is being in this position challenged you with as well? So basically, what have you learned from doing this position, and what has been the challenge? Like, okay, I didn't even know that was a challenge. Yeah.
So I think anyone that's of a diverse background probably knows the trials and tribulations within that community. So I felt very comfortable understanding what are the challenges of a Black man, and be able to talk about that authentically, in an organization. So I have strategies geared towards people that are Black, right? My wife is Hispanic and also an executive in a company. Like, so I know, here are all the things.
I got this other side too. So I got
this other side, right? Like she always talks about, like, broken ladder or broken rung. Like, I know there's a way to move up, but either the ladder's either broken or there's a rung on the ladder that's broken. And so I had that in my head as here's some things I need to think about for women and for people that are Hispanic. But then you start to get into other spaces, like I don't know a lot about people with disabilities. So how do you make that equitable? I don't know a lot about people that are in the LGBTQI community. So how do you talk about that authentically, and how do we need to support as a company for that? So I found myself, same thing with Asian. I don't have a ton of Asian friends, so I don't know a lot about their story, their trial, their tribulations, the things that are important to them, what are the moments that matter that we need to focus on. So that's probably the hardest part is learning all of those different community issues, and then figuring out what's a strategy that either my role or the company can support on. And the thing that I probably did not expect is I did not expect that the toughest critics of everything they were trying to do were actually people that are underrepresented. So like sometimes the toughest critics of everything that we're trying to move forward, like it's progress. The toughest critics are people that are Black. Like this is the first time ever we recognize Juneteenth as a holiday in our company. And then the backlash from that was like, man, you took too long. It should have been done years ago, or we just did it because of Biden, or, whatever. So that's the thing I probably didn't anticipate that I've had to kind of work through. But
so I have
everybody that's important has to deal with tough stuff.
This is a question from me and something I need from you. I need those new Biggie cans or whatever y'all have. I need one of those.
Biggie. Yeah, man.
Now, how do I get one? I'll pay for it. I ain't got no problem.
Everything that's like a promotion is hard to get, man. We trying to make every dollar off of it. Yeah, I try to get you.
I will pay for it. I just need to know where I do. I gotta go out to Brooklyn to go get the Biggie.
Yeah, it's usually by POC or.
So literally, so you can't just even make a call like, yo, I need a Biggie pack.
Yeah, I mean, I have to get it from Newark.
Wow. So you have to go call. You have to
they didn't make like a Nelly can and sell it in California. The Nelly cans were just for St. Louis, So
you'd have to call the Newark plant like, yo, I'm gonna put something on your books. I want to buy 2 cases of the Biggie cans.
Well, I wouldn't pay for nothing in my life.
I wasn't trying to say it. I wasn't trying to say I was trying to be diplomatic about it. Like, I'm putting something on your books. It's not like going to jail or something. I'll put something on your books. Like,
right.
I don't know how the process is, bro. I'm just saying. But so it's not like you could just be like, oh man, yeah, the Biggie can. I'm just gonna go around the back and go get it. They're producing the Biggie can straight out the Newark
in that area. Yeah. So a lot of stuff is very regional. Because we want to connect with consumers in that area, right? So, not that Biggie's a bad example because Biggie's big everywhere.
Yeah.
But you want to connect with consumers in that area. As much as we think Nelly is amazing, not every single in Montana. Like we wouldn't be able to sell a can in Montana, right? He
might sell in Montana though. Like he has these random
spots.
He'll sell out of Montana for some weird reason. Let's say he has a weird demographic setup. If you like research his like demos, you'd be like, so he's big in Idaho and sold out like 2 shows of like millions of people.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
You just don't know that. You never know. I mean, the numbers are everything with it. So what do you say is the thing that got you the most in overall with your career, not necessarily how you matriculated through AB, but how you matriculated from being a dude on the north side off 6 Hour all the way to being the head of diversity and inclusion?
To be honest, I think I got to a point. My grandfather used to always say, get comfortable being uncomfortable. I swear to God, I thought he invented it, and then like it's everywhere. But
then you sound like the real person that
I saw a real quote. I'm like in college. I'm like, wait a second, that's the same thing. So he used to always say that when I was younger, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think about like man, I went to a different school that was not with all my friends. I had to figure out a way to get comfortable doing that. I did a different profession than the profession that I had my degree in, right? Helicopter pilot versus being a cellular molecular biologist, right? in a production environment versus a military environment. I think even outside of the work stuff, I mean, you know, I do real estate.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was super nervous about starting to buy properties and things like that. And if I look at those, what's the root thing that I changed in myself is I allow myself to say, everything's not going to be smooth. Everything's not going to be like easy. You just got to get comfortable being in a space where you feel a little uneasy. And what I found is that feeling of uneasiness has typically given me the best reward, you know. And yeah, I remember my first real estate deal. I saved up money for 4 years to buy that fraternity house.
Yeah.
But I remember signing a paper, and it only takes a second for the wire to go through, right? Wire goes through. Boom.
I did 4 years for this, but it's a second for the money to be gone.
And I literally, you know, go in on my phone, look at my account, and it was gone that fast. Like, it was like pending. And I remember that just being I was just so nervous about it. Not that I would suggest that you don't, you know, don't focus on ensuring that you mitigate risk. I'm not saying that, but I got to a point where I've learned to be okay with having little butterflies in the stomach, and that real estate deal ended up turning into, you know, great money. I actually just sold it last year. I bought, you know, beach houses. You and I have been talking about, like, yo, I got this idea. I just want to buy like all these beach condos, and then we can all be neighbors and raise the prices. I remember having that conversation with all y'all. And y'all was like, man, Shipp, I don't know. And I was like, man, I'm just going to do it, right? So I think a lot of it just is being comfortable being uncomfortable. Super cliche, but that's probably the one thing that is a point of differentiation between myself and, I think, some other people that frankly are smarter than me, have better skills, better whatever. It's I was comfortable being uncomfortable. I tried.
So is that the biggest advice you'll give to somebody like, yo, like, man, he from where I'm from off of Marcus and you know, Bessie. Like, is that what you would give them? Like, yo, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, what would you tell them, the person that grew up where we came from? What would you tell them, you know, like to get out of where they are?
It'd probably be two things. Then I would probably do that. You know,
yeah.
Be okay with being uncomfortable. Do things out of your comfort zone. But probably the other one is figuring out your narrative.